Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? Hope you're travelling all right. Half-time at the footy. Jordan Dawson seems to be playing pretty well, but I've pulled the trigger on a young Crow straight up on his debut. So let's take a look at the teams. I'll tell you what, Thursday nights are a bit of a rush for me because I like to get in the gym. Then I do my little TikTok video just when the teams come out. Then at half-time I do this, and I've got dinner going on. It's, I do like Thursday night footy, but gee, things become a bit of a rush. And if the game's not too good, I don't mind a bit of the rotation between a bit of footy over to RBT, footy over to that missing persons show. I mean, is that a sign you're getting old when you're channel surfing on free to air with those random ass shows? But I'm telling you, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Also, we're having a kick on Monday, so if you're fancy, I'll put a couple of videos out if you're fancy. Bringing your Sharon down to Warm Ponds, Deakin Uni. Feel free to come along. We'll probably make a bit of a video, talk a bit of trash, talk a bit of footy, SuperCoach, whatever floats your boat. So feel free to come along. But yeah, I've got a bit of a list too of some discussion points that were brought up in the live, so we'll go through a few of those names. But isn't it getting difficult? We do not have any downgrades at all. I'm mapping things out. This week was the most uncertain I felt about trades. I didn't know what to do with Clayton Oliver. Lack of downgrade rookie options. Who can you trust? And then you got the buys, and then above all, you got fucking subs. I'm trying to get some cash gen going. Kane McAuliffe shoots himself in the foot with any sort of cash gen by being a sub. So first half, I've just been barracking for some sort of Richmond injury, but just give me a 40, Kane. Just for God's sake, give me a 40. Just so I can't handle like a 10. But I'm going to need Jai Clark or Will Graham to do something half decent, I think. But yeah, let's have a little look. We obviously know those teams. Darcy, we knew. Libba comes back. Nothing too relevant there. Hutchinson's an option. Obviously, Reed is out. Few people going Will Dawson, but I don't know. He's never going to be a great scorer, and that's sort of based off what he's done already, but also his VFL numbers, and I don't know. There's just something about it that I feel like I prefer to go elsewhere. Hence, I went with Dowling from the Crows. That was the young Crow I was referencing before. Maybe Caden Cleary can give us something. Jai Clark comes back. Braden Campbell got a couple of shout-outs in the live, and he's worth a little smoky, I reckon. Otherwise, there wasn't too much going on, I don't think. That'll be an absolute cracker of a game. Dons and Carlton. Obviously, Collingwood, Melbourne. We've still got that game to come through. So, let me show you how I'm shaping up. And yeah, in the end, I don't know. I don't feel great about it. I'll walk you through my trade plan. I feel good about the plan, but not so sure about this week. I don't know. Need the Crows to fire up too. I went the more bold margin. I tipped them by about 6 goals. So I need them to bloody fire up, mate, or my margin's going to be cooked. So I've gone Dowling. It's a bit of an interesting call. Darcy down to Dowling. I just felt like with Crouch going out, he's a mid-season pickup, great sample numbers. I just feel like if he can cement his spot in the Crows side, he could be a really good scorer. Where Dawson, I don't know. I just didn't float my boat, and looking at my plan, I really needed to pick someone who was around that 120k mark. I couldn't really go a little more expensive option. And I tossed and turned about going Oliver out for Dowling, because the way I'm looking at it, basically I'll turn Mac Andrew into Luke Ryan. I'll turn Oliver into Sarong, and I'll turn probably Graham or McAuliffe into Rosie, and then I'll turn Sexton into Rankin and Fraser into maybe a Charlie Curnow. And I'm hoping if we can if we get some good cash gem from somewhere, I'd love to have a 7th forward, just a cheap one, maybe to use some emergency loopholes, whether it's Jeremy Cameron, Jai Caldwell, even Graham Myers, who'll be under 400k, is far from the worst. But that's the way I'm looking at it. But in the end, I thought, look, just go Darcy down to Dowling. It makes more sense. Darcy's not playing. Yeah, Oliver's probably not going to make his break even, but let's just hope he can crack the ton. We'll see. we'll see. But I think Oliver probably goes in the next couple of weeks when Sarong drops a bit. So VC on Bontempelli. I'm feeling like Heaney against the Cats midfield. Tom Green, I thought about, but just feel like I couldn't trust him. We're gonna go. We're gonna see how Graham goes on Saturday night, and then if that's no good, we'll give Clark a whirl on the Sunday game. Closey could also go. His break even's about 70, so you could certainly trade him. I've held him at this stage just because there's no real options. I mean, I could still go Dawson. I might have a look at what else is on the horizon, but yeah, do I go Dawson? I'm not really sure. I'm not a big fan of him, but look, some of the other things that were discussed is Sexton a keeper, as well as he's going. He's not a keeper for mine. He's going fantastically. Let's ride this wave while we can, but I think once Powell comes back, we saw it early in the season. He got dropped, Sexton, and Powell and Flanders were the main guys off halfback. Even if he's in the team, I think his scoring will be significantly affected. So, not a keeper for mine, but hey, we can just wait and see what happens. It's a nice position to be in. And then you've got Fisher versus Moore. I slightly prefer Zach Fisher. I don't know. There's just something about him that I just can't trust. The role is good. McKercher's not even... I mean, I think he's going to score well. I do. I don't even really know why I'm not bringing him in, to be honest. It's pretty much because I can't quite manufacture... well, I can manufacture the funds, but it doesn't really... Nothing really makes sense. Like, I don't know. There's no one really... Like, these two blokes haven't made enough money. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I could go closey to Fisher, perhaps, and then somehow I could swing him with Sex. I don't know. Maybe I do need to think about this a little bit more. I'm not sure. But I think Dylan Moore's a very good option also, but I would prefer Fisher with a bit of consistency. Leclerc is one that I'm not super keen on just because I think when Buckley comes back, I don't think he wasn't in the inclusions, was he? So he's going really well, but I just feel like he could be out of the team in the next 2-3 weeks because Buckley's not too far away. So that's the only reason that one concerned me. Edwards from the Eagles. Again, I don't know stacks about him, so I'm not too sure. I wasn't sure if he just came in because of Waterman being a laid out, but let's have a look. Has he held his spot here? Yeah, so Waterman comes back. He's named on the bench. Yeah, look, he's not that cheap either. Look, I'm happy to shop elsewhere. Jai Caldwell, I think, is a really good option, particularly with Parrish missing a bit more footy now. I think his break-even's around 103, so certainly no need to just grab him at the moment. He doesn't have a high ceiling, Caldwell, so he's probably going to average or score between that 80 to early 100s most weeks, but he's going to be pretty reliable. And another bomber, Jordan Ridley, I would go him, but except I've saved that last spot in my back line for Luke Ryan, so just going to hold off. But I do think Ridley's a really good option, so I certainly wouldn't talk you out of that one. And then Campbell. Oh, who are we talking about with Campbell? Oh, Braden. Yeah, I touched on him. Don't mind him. I don't know. He's a bit expensive. I like his flexibility. Potentially a good role, but I don't know. Happy to pass and wait and see how he goes against the Cats. And Jordan Clark and LDU, really good options. Really good options. I think Clark's now moved in that reign where you're like, he's got to be respected. We've got to respect him. He's playing fantastic, and LDU is an absolute favourite of mine. I might just stop this because we get cut out at 10 minutes, but I'll just finish it off. I want to talk about Lachie Neale for a bit. So Lachie Neale, I think he's a guy that got a fair bit of talk as well on the live. There's a bit of Neale versus LDU. I would go LDU, but Neale, he should be respected. He is playing good footy. There's just something, I don't know. I just feel like I'm happy to pass. I'm happy to go elsewhere. It's just a bit of a gut feel. I feel like Neale's maybe a little past his absolute best, but he is playing good footy. The Lions, they don't really play a high possession brand of footy like when Neale first came to the club and he just was racking 30 plus all the time. He's still very dominant around the clearance, and the Lions are really needing him to step up at the moment. So, he's averaging over 115. I'm not going to talk you out of it, but I would prefer Luke Davis-Uniacke, who's had a slower start to the year, but he's really building into it now. I always try to preference that sort of next generation type of player where maybe Neil and the Lions, they could drop off just a smidgen if they lose touch with the finals. So, but you're probably winning on both ways. A bit like people were talking about, do I go Whitfield or Clark, or these type of things. Definitely Clark over Whitfield, but again, I think Whitfield's going to be a pretty solid option. Cop's a bit of a tag though, so isn't able to work through that super well. But yeah, I think that's about the main points I wanted to cover. It is tough. Let's try and trade in some guys who have already had their bye and do our best there. But yeah, it's tough times. I'm just hoping to... this is the easier week. We've only got a couple of teams with byes. This is the easy one. So make sure we prepare ourselves nicely for the next couple of weeks. But have a good weekend. I'll have a couple of TikToks as well with maybe some updates if I do something with Closey. But yeah, stay tuned. I'll talk to you later. Cheers.